Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassie Villela and I'm a realtor, property manager, and investor here in San Antonio, Texas. On my channel, we talk about all things real estate, from data and market updates to home and garden. So if that's your cup of tea, please click like, subscribe, follow, all of the things. I'm on all of the social media channels as Cassie Villela. So let's dive in today. We're going to be doing a market update. So the first of 2022. So we're filming this January 18th, 2022. So all of this data is going to be the latest data from December of last year. I'm really excited. This time of year, we have a lot of experts that are making predictions about the upcoming year. So I've put some of those articles at the end of the presentation after the market data. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we have the updates on, the cough, and you can see that it's worsening. Positivity rate and hospital trends are all critical. So, kind of like everybody predicted after holidays and with new variants, things have gotten worse. The good news is no new deaths. It does seem like a lot less severe once people get it, but it's still pretty rough. Like everywhere else in the country, schools are short-staffed. Everywhere is short-staffed. So that's where we are. Hopefully we'll kind of get over that wave pretty quickly. So showings per week. So I started doing these updates right after, the cough started. And so I always started these charts from March. So it was going like March to February. And now that we're on year 3 of data, I decided to go ahead and fix that and make it like a regular January to December. And so that's what I did. You can see there. So that's why the blue line starts in kind of the middle in March. It's because that's when I started tracking this data. And this data is not something that can kind of easily be pulled. It's something that I've kind of like pull each week from the showings. So it's harder for me to go back and like find those weeks of data at this point. So that's probably too much information, but here we go. Showings per week, starter home sales, basically exactly on track where we were this time last year. Rental showings per week, pretty much the same. I think the difference in that week 1 of January probably has to do with where exactly New Year's Eve fell. And so this week, the first week was like the day after New Year's Eve. So probably a lot fewer showings and then made up for the next week, but basically the same. Weekly home sales. Unfortunately, I only had 1 week of home sales data. So you could kind of see that 2022 is a dot. But it's a little bit lower than this time last year. But again, that could just be the holiday. So we'll have to see next week where we are, or I'm sorry, next month where we are. Median price, we see kind of what we've become accustomed to of the gap between the years being so significant. So we are starting out 2022 being well over 300,000 as a median price. If I'm remembering correctly, it's like 305 or maybe 309,000. So yeah, definitely continuing to just skyrocket over time. So median sales price, you can see where, a few months back, I remember I made like a short video about like, okay, the data is changing and we're kind of leveling out. And we had several months in a row where most of the charts kind of leveled out and it seemed like, okay, maybe the market has reached this nice level of balance, or maybe it's going to slow down just a tad bit, which we would actually kind of like because it's so crazy right now. Well, I shouldn't say I would like for it to slow down just a tad, but that happened. And then, we went into October, November, and things just kind of went up again. And so here we are. The median sales price is just back on a climbing trend. New listings are down across all price ranges. Now, this last data point is going to be December. And so new listings being lower in December pretty typical because that's right in the middle of the holidays. And you can see that this time last year, we were pretty much exactly where we are now with new listings. So this is kind of a to be expected dip. Homes for sale obviously is also going down because if there are fewer listings, fewer new listings, there are fewer homes for sale. And pending sales, again, pending sales are going to go down during the holiday months. Funnily enough, closed sales actually increased in December, comparing to the number of homes for sale going down and pending sales going down, but then closed sales were up. A little bit weird, but it's not by a lot, so I'm not going to worry about it. Median days on market is starting to creep up just a little bit. So we have 30 days on market in some of the price ranges, which is higher than we've seen in, just about a year, but obviously still quite low. We still are in 25 to 30 days on market for most price ranges. So it really hasn't slowed down all that much. Median price per square foot is, again, still increasing. We see the biggest increases in the 325,000 or more. So, in the higher end of the market, we see the most per square foot increase, which makes sense. But even in the lower end, we're still just going up by square foot. You can see where I was talking about, September, October, November, it was kind of leveling out, and then we're up again. Median percent of last list price, we're still leveled out there. We're still right at 100%. So, if you're a buyer, what does that mean? It means that we're not quite where we were last year, where buyers are like overbidding and going way over the sales price. But you still are going to have to offer pretty much sales price unless there are extenuating factors if you're going to get something under contract. Sellers are still going to expect a full price offer. Month supply dipping severely once again, and you can see that that is very much on par with where we were this time last year. It's just kind of the winter slump because there are fewer listings, so of course there's a smaller supply of homes for sale. I'm disappointed because I do normally get the data that has this, I put it into like circles to try to make it interesting, but that data, Sabre did not have it released yet when I checked yesterday, so I don't have those specific numbers. When those come out, I'll probably just make a short, maybe real quick, and talk about like the biggest one I always look at is the rent price, the average rent price. I think that's the biggest number that I get from that, but it's also nice to see the year-over-year appreciation and things like that. So once that data comes out, I'll probably make a short, maybe an Instagram reel to give that data, to put that data out there, because I don't want to wait a whole other month and then be talking about data that's 2 months old. This is from Independence Title, last 5 years, and you can see again that sales price is just, it leveled out there and then just starting to go up again. So sales volume is, doing the kind of yearly dip, but I fully expect that we'll see it just start to tail back up, just like it did in 2019 and 2020. So I think we can expect that it's going to go right back to, skyrocketing in the spring. Months of inventory, again, super low. Not quite as low as spring this year, but still ridiculous. Like I say, every month, 6 months is sort of a balanced market. And so we're less than 2 months of inventory. So that tells you how dramatically it is a seller's market. Residential sales, this would be like number of homes sold, is down a little bit from last year. But again, it's sort of the holiday. We'll see where that ends up going this in January, February. And then average sales price. Now, I normally talk about the median sales price because I think that's a better indicator, because you can have like mansions and large homes that kind of skew the average. but $360,000 being the average sales price, just, I think for any San Antonian, kind of blows the mind. So, kind of the same story with the data as we've seen. It's a hot market, it's a seller's market, it's not slowing down. We did see for a while that it seemed like it might be kind of balancing out a bit, but it's just continuing to get hotter now. And so some of the reasons that I think that might be happening is because we have a lot of people talking about the San Antonio market and how hot it is. So I just, screen grabbed some headlines that I looked up. We have the National Association of Realtors named San Antonio in one of the top 10 hidden gems. And we'll talk about what that means on the next slide. Zillow, I think, most of you have probably heard if you're interested in real estate in San Antonio, especially. San Antonio was ranked the 4th hottest housing market by Zillow. And that it did say San Antonio, New Braunfels. So kind of like that, New Braunfels is pretty separate from San Antonio, but we're kind of combined according to Zillow anyway. And then Realtor forecast, this headline's kind of weird. It means realtor.com, like the company. Forecasts that San Antonio real estate is going to grow more than Austin and Houston in 2022. So we have all of these, people who are way smarter than me and have a lot more data than I do, who are calling out San Antonio as a really great place to invest. So according to the National Association of Realtors, and I did pull this article from ksat.com. And the link is there on the slide. I'm going to go ahead and read it because I know that sometimes I like to listen to YouTube videos while I'm cleaning or whatever. So in case you're doing that, I'll read this out to you. The National Association of Realtors named San Antonio among its hidden gems for 2022, meaning home prices are expected to appreciate at a higher rate than most other markets. Home prices in San Antonio are up nearly 20% over 1 year ago. And in October, the median price of a home exceeded $300,000 for the first time ever. The NAR, National Association of Realtors, predicts that housing prices across the country will climb 5.7% next year, significantly less than 2021, but believes San Antonio will experience stronger price appreciation relative to other markets. So the NAR is basically predicting that San Antonio is going to be a stronger market than others. They think the whole housing market's going to remain strong, but that San Antonio is going to continue to be even hotter than other markets. And then I found this article on Roofstock, and definitely go and read this article. I'm going to have my editor link it in the description, because this is one of the best written articles I've read on the San Antonio market. He breaks it down into, like job sectors and, renters and just everything you could want to know. He provides the data. He provides like a synopsis of it. I just really thought it was a well-written and very accurate article. So especially if you are out of state and you're trying to get kind of a pulse on the San Antonio market, this is a great article for you to read. But I just pulled a couple of, highlights from it. It repeats the NAR stat we just talked about. And it says that the NAR believes prices are still undervalued relative to underlying market fundamentals. San Antonio has also been ranked as one of the most stable markets for rental activity in the nation, according to a 2020 year-end report from Rent Cafe. According to the San Antonio Business Journal, Generation Z is the most active renter generation in San Antonio. As home sales continue to surge, prices are rising and inventory is tightening, making rental property in San Antonio an increasingly popular investment. So that's one synopsis he made. And then he goes on and he's talking about rent prices and rental statistics. So he says rent prices are rising in San Antonio, with median rent for a 3-bedroom home increasing by 13% year over year. He talks about some of the factors that go into that increase. And then says San Antonio is known as one of the most stable markets for rental activity in the US, according to the San Antonio Business Journal. About 60% of rental applications come from renters moving from somewhere else within the city. Strong performance of the rental market in San Antonio is one reason why Wallet Hub ranks San Antonio as one of the best cities for renters. The report analyzed more than 180 rental markets using the same key measures real estate investors use, including activity in the real estate market, cost of living, and growth in the job market. And again, please read the full article because he goes into a lot more detail on, what that means, what growth in the job market is, etc. But basically, we have, all of the major players in real estate, from the Board of Realtors to Zillow and Realtor.com and Roofstock and all of these places who are really focusing in San Antonio as having really good fundamentals, as still being undervalued compared to what we offer. And so I think that a lot of us who are from San Antonio are sitting here like, wow, how can it be a median price of $320,000? That's insane. Like I bought my first house not even a decade ago for like $100,000. That was like a starter home. So it's hard for us to wrap our minds around if you've always lived here, because San Antonio has always been like a very affordable, good cost of living place. But compared to other places, compared to other markets, we're still undervalued. We're still cheaper than a lot of those other markets that have the same job growth and, just positive attributes of the San Antonio market. So, all of these people, all of these companies are looking at San Antonio saying, yeah, it's still going to keep going up in 2022. So I include all of this to say, with a huge disclaimer, right? Like put it in red blinking letters, like nobody can predict the future. Anything could happen. None of us know what's going to happen. None of us could have predicted 2020. None of us could have predicted 2021. So certainly if we've learned anything at this point, it's that we have no idea what's coming. However, a lot of people are saying this is only going to continue to be hot. The market is going to continue to rise. A lot of people call me saying, oh, is it a bubble? Is it, are prices going to stabilize? Are prices going to go down? And as much as I would like it to stabilize, it doesn't seem like, from what the experts are saying, that that's going to happen anytime soon. So if you're a buyer, that's bad news. But if you're a seller, that's great news. This would be the year to sell. Prices are just going to keep going up, and it's going to be more and more competitive for buyers. So I hope that is all helpful information. Like I said, if you're not following me on Instagram, then follow me there so that I can, you can see that reel when it comes out with the other data that I typically include on these. Definitely comment below. What do you think is going to happen in the market this year? What do you think about all of these large players and what they have to say about the San Antonio market? What do you think of the data? I'd definitely like to hear what you guys say. You guys are, have great insights as well. So I will see you next time. Until then, just hang on for this wild ride.